I was feeling in case that press from Darren Whitney, who returns to action on September 23rd at Fury FC 69. Darren, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Just getting home from practice and coming to the end of the day. So yeah, coming to the end of fight camp. So it's nice to actually, have a good fight camp and be able to perform at 100%.
What'd you work today?
We had a MMA practice this morning, pro MMA practice. Johnny Bedford is our head coach, so he coaches that. Evan Cutts is one of our team leaders. He's also, he's the main event for that card in Dallas. So we're both fighting teammates from Factory X. So
That's awesome. I mean, how does it feel to, for Cuts headlining, you're on the card, you guys are fighting Factory X. Like, how's that feel?
great, man. I mean, as far as I've come, when I first walked into the gym over 10 years ago, Evan was one of the first people that I've met, and we've been teammates ever since. So he's definitely made me better every aspect of the game. I believe he's a third degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. So his ground game is superior. So he's definitely, got me on that level. Is maybe not quite as good, but somewhere, up there, so to speak. But yeah, he's made me better all around every aspect of the game. And, you're only as good as your training partners, iron sharpens iron. So I'd like to think Evan's actually one of the best compared to what I've experienced and, trained with other gyms and so on and so forth. And just experience of the game and MMA IQ and everything like that.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, you're 18 days out. How you feeling?
I feel great, man. I'm very confident, especially coming off a hard fought win. A Fury 67, or was it 68?
That is
I
66.
believe it 68 because this one's 69, and then right, yeah, because then I'm fighting in October. They have me scheduled to fight in October as
I
well.
saw
Yeah,
that. I saw.
for yeah for Fury 70. So yeah, you know what I mean. Like I'm looking to the plan's always to win in impressive fashion, steamroll them, and move on to the next. But I'm definitely not taking this guy lightly. I know to go a little bit further, into the background of what's so on. Uh, I just the guy that I fought, Santiago Guzman, he actually beat him in a split decision as well. So it was a good fight. So, it can go any which way, depending on, how it plays out. But I'm looking for the same results, just another win. And hopefully, I can do it in what I plan on, in dominated fashion.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been 3 weeks since your fight against Santiago. How do you feel about that performance?
I feel good. Like I knew he was gonna be a tough fight, or it was gonna be like I was anticipating a battle or war. Especially where he's coming from, like his camp and everything. He comes from a good guys. He's got a couple UFC fighters. He's got a really good coach. So I anticipated it either go in the distance. Obviously, I'm always going to try and finish the fight. You never want it to go to the judges, because you never know who's scoring the fight and if they're actually scoring it correctly. So, and that's hard, because anybody can watch a fight and be like, oh, that guy's winning, but that's where the MMA IQ comes into play, to edge out a victory, if it takes it that far. But, the stand up, it was fun. It was fun. But I feel like, you always feel like you can do better, when you're watching tape and, kind of correct the mistakes that you've made or, leading into the next fight.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'm happy with it, but I always think I can do better.
yeah, and I mean, you talk about those judges, though, bro. Those Texas judges, I don't know what the fuck they're watching most of the time.
Dude, I'm serious. I'm serious. Well, because like my fight on YouTube, my first fight for Fury in Dallas, they call it a split as well. And my opinion, and mostly a lot of people's opinions, was a unanimous decision. I felt like I won all 3 rounds. And the same thing with uh Santiago fighting the dude that I'm about to fight. They also call it a split, but I also felt that he won a unanimous decision. But again, you just never want it to go to the judges because you never know. you know.
For sure, for sure. Did you take any days off after your Santiago win, or was it right back to the grind?
I wanted to get right back to the grind, but he actually he kicked the shit out of my leg, so I was limping for a few days after that. But I also had my wisdom teeth removed,
Okay.
so that was a pain, you know. And then I got stitches, so you know there was also that I had to, you know, sit out. So I took a week off, which is always good, you know, to recoup, kind of game plan mentally, you know, get back in the fight. And you're itching to get back in the gym, especially after you already, you know, fought a good fight, you know.
For sure, for sure. Before we get to your fight with Ricky, firstly, you have a fantastic beard, bro.
Thanks, man. Thanks. I really work on it. I trim on it and everything. Sometimes it's like a pain in the ass, you know. It's like it takes too much time, or I'm in a rush, and you know, or I have a hot date or something like that. It doesn't really, you know, go according to plan.
I did want to ask, for anybody that does not know your story, how did you get into mixed martial arts?
Well, you know, ever since I was a kid, like I feel like that's where everybody starts out at, and uh, you know, fighting with my brothers. I have three older brothers, you know, so they always beat me up. I had an older uncle; he always beat me up. And you know, I lived in a small town, Monroe, Maine, which was population like 300, not even, you know. And there's so many small towns in Maine; it's so spread out. So I grew up in the woods, and you know, just other kids my age that I hung out with, we always, you know, boxed and, you know, so on and so forth. And, you know, I'd get beat up sometimes, but I was pretty good at it. And so that's how it started out. And then getting into junior high, there was a gentleman or a good friend of mine, Ben Raven. He started a fight club. You know, he had the UFC gloves. And, you know, I was that kid that would pretty much fight anybody, you know, juniors and seniors. And, you know, I was potentially getting my ass kicked, but then I started winning, you know what I mean? It's like kind of like the experience, like you get better at it and, you know, kind of get the feel for it. And then, you know, I started winning and yeah, I just didn't want to stop winning, you know, from there. So, yeah, there's some good memories, you know, some tape, you know, of us fighting backyards. We built our own ring and all that good stuff. And yeah, you know, I just always stuck with it, and it's something I was always good at, I guess, better than everything else, you know, besides picking up girls. And um yeah, so just one thing led to another. And you know, it's hard, especially in Maine, because there's not a lot of opportunity, and you know, everybody's working a full-time job, so on and so forth. So I really had to, you know, venture out myself and, you know, kind of, because it was a dream and I wanted to make it happen. And it was hard to make happen, especially the environment that I was in, and, you know, establish that. But then I met Marcus Davis, which is in the UFC. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. He was ranked number 3 in the world at welterweight. He lost to Nate Diaz. And then Ben Saunders, but he was next up to fight George St. Pierre, but he ended up losing that fight. But you know, and he was great. He's got great boxing. So, you know, that's kind of how I started out. And you know, just getting in trouble as a kid, in and out of jail, and, you know, pretty much, you know, doing everything that I wasn't supposed to do, that I did anyways. And you know, I had good friends that lived down here in Texas, and I took the opportunity and I came down by myself, no family or anything. And trust me, I've been through the ringer. When I say I've been through the ringer of being homeless, living out of my car, you know, living dollar to dollar, you know, not having enough money to turn my phone on, or, you know, putting gas in the car or eating. So obviously, you know, those are the two main things, get back and forth to work. But I was also training full time, and I met Johnny Bedford. And, you know, it's kind of hard at first because you got to prove yourself, and, you know, start off with jujitsu. I wasn't the greatest, but they definitely, you know, owned my skills and made me the fighter I am today. And I believe I can hang it with the best of them, you know? So it's kind of proof in the pudding.
For sure, for sure. I did want to ask about your pro debut. So it was a 2-year layoff before your pro debut. Were you nervous about ring rust?
Oh, absolutely. There's always there's always got to be doubt, you know, mentally, that you got to overcome, and just kind of, you know, that aspect that you got to kind of not worry about, the negatives and more so focus on the positives and kind of train your brain, into that factor. And, you get that through your amateurs. And I had 9 amateur fights and they're all tough fights. And that really prepared me for that moment. And, for AKA, it was on UFC Fight Pass as well. So that was my first pro fight coming out the gate. And I was also fighting another good guy, so it was awesome to win in impressive fashion and, be on UFC Fight Pass as well. So it was an honor, you know.
Awesome, awesome. All right, well, let's talk about it, man. Fury FC 69, Markwell. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
I think it's going to be a fun fight. I know they're good strikers over there, but I'm very confident in my hands, my toughness, and have a good game plan of coming out and pretty much taking the fight to him. And I don't think he's going to be able to handle my pressure or my accuracy, precision. And yeah, I've been pretty much working all aspects of the game. And, you got to fight everybody different, because everybody's got different styles. So you got to watch, tape and so on and so forth. So I feel like I have the recipe to beat him.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, on paper, it should be a very, very fun fight.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I know those guys are good everywhere. And yeah, like I said, styles make matchups. So I feel like, I have a good game plan to piece them up and do what I plan to do. You know what I mean? Put them away and not take it to the judges.
Yeah, and that was kind of like my next follow up is at the end of the day, how do you get your hand raised?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, MMA IQ is a big part of it, which a lot of people don't have. But in order to do that, you got to put in the work, and experience is a big thing. Having a ring experience, just not just fight experience, but ring experience to know the feeling, be calm, cool, calm, cool, and collected when you're in there, and being able to stick to the game plan and not get overwhelmed, especially if you get caught or you're getting your ass kicked. Like, you need to still, put on that poker face and able to, come back and still, be confident in your own abilities. So, yeah, this is the game plan.
Awesome, awesome. So as you said, you already got your next fight booked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm trying to make it, man. And like, I like, yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Like, shit, I'm already 32, man. Like, I don't feel 32, trust me. Like, but time is against me, and I'm trying to make it to the top, and I've been doing this every day of my life, and I'm gonna get in there as much as I can, and prove that I'm one of the best and I can hang with the best. And I feel like this kid's coming from one of the best gyms as well. Anthony Smith is part of Factory X, and I know he's top of the game. So obviously he's got good training partners, and it'll show. Come time to fight.
With you already having your next fight booked in October, is it like in your mind where like you have to go in this fight in September, not take any damage, and then get right back into training for the next guy, or is it just kind of like take it day by day, whatever happens?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the ideal plan, is not to take any damage. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish it was to go according to plan every fight, but it's very unpredictable. So anything can happen on any given Sunday, So yeah, I would like to go in there and knock him out in 10 seconds. You know what I mean? But ideally, like, I know he's tough, so, but like I said, styles make matchups, and I feel like, not to like talk shit or anything, but I feel like his style doesn't match up very well with mine. And, I'm very confident. Yes. And even if I do take damage, that's okay, because, I take that week off, and, I do everything right, eating healthy, yada, 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 supplements and all that good stuff. And, I'll heal accordingly. So I don't plan on taking too much damage, but if it happens, that's okay too.
With you being so active this year, is it kind of making up for lost time during 2020?
Absolutely. It's kind of it's hard, man. Like, MMA is pretty much the toughest sport, in my opinion, or a lot of people's opinions. And not only that, but it's what's going on in the outside world and what's going on with your life, to be able to perform at that level or, be disciplined and make sacrifices. And I tell you what, it's hard, man. Like, trust me, I've done my share of partying, you know what I mean? But uh the sacrificing being in the gym, you know what I mean? And taking it to that point, like this will be my sixth fight this year. And then the next one will be my seventh fight. So I plan on going 7-0 and potentially maybe even fighting again, because that's October. We still got 2 months left. So, I'm more open to a UFC contract, but I know the contender is coming to an end. So, and they take a lot of guys, from Fury. And I think I've proven myself worthy compared to who I've beaten, how I've performed, and, who I train with and, all that good stuff,
Gotcha. Well, you are a savage for having multiple fights already booked and you're already in your mind. So
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it is. It's a big deal for somebody to be that active, like Kevin Holland, for example. He's in the UFC and, fighting just like that. And, I know they make a contract and you can get a new contract and just make that money as much, how active you are.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time, Darren. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. If you want to plug your social media, plug any sponsors you might have, you want to thank anybody, the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I have a bunch of sponsors like top of my head. Uh R&R, Results Roofing and Repair. They're great guys over there. I know they sponsored, Kevin Holland as well. They have a lot of good guys like around the DFW complex that they sponsor and, help out and kind of give them that extra edge. Elizabeth Basden, she's a great friend of mine and, one business partner of mine. So she's really helped launch me, into that next level. Notary, um, they've been there like helping with merchandise and everything, kind of like pushing me to be marketable because, obviously that's what the UFC wants and that's what it's all about at the end of the day is money, baby. So yeah, Out Yonder, they're another great sponsor. So I have a lot of sponsors that have given me that extra edge and push. Like Eric Pina, he's my nutritionist, and he does a lot of nutrition for UFC fighters like Dustin Poirier, and everybody else down the line. So yeah, I have the best crew and best people on my team to make it to the top, and I'm not stopping until I get there.